Just before I get started, a big thank you to UK in a Changing Europe for allowing me to use this text for this video. But let's get started. Brexit has challenged all aspects of politics, economy and society on the island of Ireland. For Northern Ireland in particular, the UK vote to leave the EU has been politically divisive and constitutionally destabilising. The 1998 Belfast Agreement included a three-stranded formula which aimed to normalise and institutionalise contested relationships with Northern Ireland, between Northern Ireland, and between the two islands. The institutional framework created by the agreement to manage these relationships comprised three separate but interlocking institutions: the Northern Ireland Assembly, the North-South Ministerial Council, and the British-Irish Council, respectively. The foundations of all three strands of the 1998 Belfast Agreement have been challenged by the unfolding Brexit process. So much so that for Unionists, the Union is not as solid as it was pre-Brexit, and for nationalists, the prospect of Irish unity is not as remote as it was before 2016. During the 2016 Brexit referendum campaign, Northern Ireland's largest unionist political party, the Democratic Unionist Party, the DUP, was the only party in Northern Ireland to support the Leave position. However, following the referendum, a constitutional cleavage began to emerge as all swaths of political unionism moved to support the UK exit from the EU, while nationalists called for special status for Northern Ireland. Having been little more than a footnote during the wider UK referendum campaign, Northern Ireland was front and centre during phase one of the Brexit negotiations. The UK and the EU both sought to construct an exit strategy which would prevent a hard border on the island of Ireland, a position which was supported by all Northern Ireland political parties. The cut and thrust of the negotiations, however, served to stoke the constitutional question. DUP opposition to the backstop was linked to a perception that such provisions potentially lay the groundwork for future Irish unity and serve nationalist aspirations. For all shades of unionism, Prime Minister Johnson's Brexit deal, which treats Northern Ireland differently to the rest of the UK, is guilty of the same offence. The Prime Minister's deal prevents the erection of a hard border on the island of Ireland, but requires some checks at the Irish Sea on goods moving from Britain to Northern Ireland. In addition to the cost and economic impact, there are also concerns about the administrative burden which these new arrangements entail for Northern Ireland businesses. The notion that the deal constructs some of the economic infrastructure associated with a future united Ireland has aroused pronounced unionist and loyalist hostility against what has been labelled the Prime Minister's Betrayal Act. Unionists' ability to moderate the deal, already weakening after Boris Johnson replaced Theresa May as Prime Minister, was dealt a fatal blow by the result of the December 2019 general election. This ended the DUP's confidence and supply arrangement with the Conservative Party and brought some shift in Northern Ireland's political arithmetic, as both the DUP and Sinn Féin suffered electoral losses. However, a renewed political push to reconvene the suspended Northern Ireland Assembly bore fruit. On January 11th in 2020, as the European Union, the Withdrawal Agreement Bill, was making its way through Westminster, the Assembly met for the first time in almost 3 years. One of the Assembly's first substantive actions was to unanimously agree a motion withholding consent for the EU Withdrawal Agreement Bill. This may hint at a measure of cross-community consensus, but it hides different unionist and nationalist motivations for opposing the deal. Unionists fear the effects of the erection of a soft border between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK and how it may mark a step towards Irish unity. Nationalist opposition is based on an outright rejection of Northern Ireland being forced to leave the EU despite the region's vote for Remain, and they fear the potentially dire economic and political consequences that Brexit is perceived to entail. In removing the EU as a backdrop for the accommodation of different political aspirations, Brexit has created new dividing lines in Northern Ireland. The emergent points of contestation atop existing divisions have heightened constitutional tensions and widened the political gap between unionism and nationalism. Brexit undermines the supporting framework which helped to sustain cross-border relations on the island of Ireland. The remit and operation of cross-border institutions created by the Belfast Agreement, most especially the special EU programmes body, are challenged by Brexit. The impact is particularly unsettling for nationalists because the recognition and protection of their identity is linked to cross-border institutional innovations. There is some awareness that North-South institutions must be protected, but little detail in relation to how they might adapt to a post-Brexit environment. The Brexit process has also sullied relations between unionists and the Irish government. Unionists' insecurities have been heightened by the Irish government's approach to Brexit, which is seen as privileging an open border on the island of Ireland at the expense of some hardening of the border between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. The Strand 2 dimensions of the Belfast Agreement has been pivotal to the stabilisation of a delicate set of relationships on the island of Ireland. Brexit, however, is testing this key plank of the settlement and contributing to rifts and ruptures in cross-border relationships and institutions. Brexit has inflicted damage on the British-Irish relationship. The Northern Ireland peace process was built on a shared and agreed British-Irish approach to the process of conflict resolution. Brexit challenged this bilateral norm and exposed a variance between the two governments. The Irish government's preference for the softest of Brexits clashed with the vacillating UK position. Strains and tensions between the two governments tested what had previously been a stable and constructive bilateral relationship. Brexit has also exposed and perhaps even solidified the psychological distance between Northern Ireland and the rest of the UK. Polls have revealed that a majority of British voters do not feel a deep constitutional connection to Northern Ireland and would rather Northern Ireland leave the UK in exchange for a good Brexit deal. This apparent British indifference to Northern Ireland further feeds and fuels a sense of betrayal among unionists in Northern Ireland who feel vulnerable to what they view as a duplicitous Irish government, an unsympathetic EU and an undependable UK Prime Minister. Brexit has impacted on all three strands of the 1998 Belfast Agreement and disturbed some of the foundations of that constitutional settlement. The agreement includes a provision for the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland to call a border poll, a referendum on a united Ireland that means, in the event that it appears likely to him that a majority of those voting would express a wish that Northern Ireland should cease to be part of the United Kingdom and form part of a united Ireland. There is currently no substantive evidence or political appetite to support an Irish unity referendum. No Irish or British political party other than Sinn Féin is seriously engaged with the unification agenda. However, there has been some mobilization of civic society. In an open letter to Taoiseach Leo Varadkar in November 2019, 1,000 representatives of civic society across Ireland called for new conversation about the constitutional future of the island of Ireland. The emergence of groups like Think 32, which are explicitly focused on promoting a debate on Irish unity, have also enlivened what had been a dormant political issue. In what would have seemed inconceivable just a few short years ago, the subject of constitutional change is now part of the broader Irish political narrative. Brexit has been a key trigger for this unexpected constitutional conversation. The future vigor of the drive towards constitutional change, however, will be either encouraged or discouraged by other events, namely the nature of the future UK-EU relationship, electoral developments on the island of Ireland, and demographic shifts in Northern Ireland. Brexit comes with many costs and consequences for the island of Ireland. Long-term, however, its legacy and most notable impact may well be how the decision for the UK to leave the EU challenged the three strands of the 1998 Belfast Agreement and precipitated moves towards new British and Irish constitutional futures. And if you now want to know more about European politics, YouTube has chosen another of my videos right here in the end screen, right next to your chance to subscribe to my channel, which I hope you do if you haven't done so yet. But then please don't forget to click the little bell as well, so you'll be notified when I publish another video. I'll see you in my next video. Click and enjoy. Viel Spaß!